Sometimes the most lucrative business ideas are right in front of you. That's exactly what happened to these brothers who now rake in $18,000 a month cleaning solar panels. They learned how to scale a business that solved one single problem and, more importantly, provided homeowners with value over the long run. This is Ryan Atkinson, and you're listening to the Outfit Podcast, where we uncover how great businesses are built and the secrets to replicating their success. Today, we're sitting down with Sanad and Denny Karasovic, co-founders of Super Clean Bros. This is going to be an amazing episode talking about how they started their own company, cleaning solar panels. We're going to discuss exactly the steps that they took to get started and how they grew to that $18,000 a month. Super excited for this one. Sanad and Denny, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
I think this is going to be a really interesting episode. One, because typically when you have these interviews, it's only one person doing it. And it's always fun when you get two, when they're actually brothers. It makes for like a whole new dynamic. So thank you guys again so much for being here.
No worries.
Let's talk about the early beginnings of Super Clean Bros. What were you both like doing up until this point of like saying like, hey, let's go start this business together?
So I was in trucking and logistics, so delivering loads and things like that, supervising drivers. And kind of my thing was I was entrepreneurship. And I did have a trucking company prior, but then sold that and was just working for a corporation. And basically I had an itch again to get into, managing a company of my own and entrepreneurship. And that's kind of like I was thinking. And we were one day tinkering with our trucks in the garage. And we're just like, we should start something. And we were discussing pressure washing, solar panel cleaning, a lot of these home cleaning necessities. And that's how the Super Clean Bros kind of came on.
And then like, Denny, what were you doing? Were you doing like the same thing? Just to kind of clarify that for the audience here. Yeah.
I was in the pharmacy field, so completely different. So I just, did pharmaceutical and got out of that to pursue this and go with my brother and started off with just thinking of it as an idea, build up small. And then the way we developed going from there is, we had to pull funds from somewhere. So we both worked for a corporation. We had our 401k and we're like, let's not take a big lump sum loan during COVID. So we just did the minimum and then started buying our equipment from there.
Interesting. I want to ask, like, what was that first conversation? Were you guys just like eating dinner together? Were you guys having a few drinks and all of a sudden you're scribbling on a napkin? Or like, how did that first conversation happen? Draw that picture for us.
Well, we were just in the garage. We like to go off-roading and we were just messing around with our vehicles and doing actually some electrical work on our lights and started talking about it that we should start something. But it was also middle of COVID. So we knew right away we didn't want to do anything that deals with kind of working inside the house or inside of a commercial business, just the way things were going. So we were thinking, well, if we do any kind of cleaning, it should be maybe exterior cleaning, and solar panels were being like put up left and right on these homes and buildings. And I've never seen anybody clean them. So I started doing a little bit of research and looking companies that make the equipment to use, basically comparing Europe to here. In Europe, they're about 15 years ahead with building cleaning material, machinery, and things like that. I mean, most brushes and pulls, drone, technology comes from Europe, to clean these panels or clean a building. So we started looking into that and actually found a company here in the United States that orders most of its parts kind of from Europe. They're based out of California, AM Pressure Washing, and we've built a close relationship with the owner, and it started from there.
And so you guys took out money from your 401k to like get the initial startup cost of starting a business. How much money did you guys take out of your 401k to get this thing started?
I believe I took out about 9,000.
Yeah, and I took out about 7,500.
Okay, very nice. So about $16,500 you guys took out. And then that first step is you identify like, cleaning, like we know Europe's way ahead. We're going to start cleaning. So what was that first step to actually getting your first client to say like, hey, can we come over and like clean your solar panels? Or like, what did that step look like for you guys?
That was, just getting friends and family involved first. We know them. We'll still take care of their stuff and practice cleaning their solar panels. We have solar panels on our roof, clean those, figure out what's the best tactic. The equipment when we started with was not the equipment we use today. So the time difference, it took us about an hour and a half to clean?
Yeah, hour and a half to clean. Now it takes longer to set up than clean. It takes about maybe 15, 20 minutes to clean about 40 panels.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, let's talk about that equipment then. So what were you guys using that was taking you so long, and like how did you cut down your time like dramatically? Yeah.
Yeah, when we started, so it was middle of COVID. So finding equipment and ordering equipment and then getting this equipment delivered to us was a challenge. For example, we ordered some equipment in March and we ended up finally getting it in mid-September. So we were waiting well over 6 months for some of this equipment to come in. And then when we started using it, it was great. And some of it was already commercial grade equipment, but it wasn't what we wanted. And we were like, okay, there has to be something better out there. And then started researching more and more when income started coming in, and then started basically buying things that will speed up the process because time is money. We can do more jobs in one day. And yeah, it was a lot of research and finding a company that will work with us and also show us how this equipment works. And if we have any issues, will they actually support us? Or was it just, once they sell it, they forget about us and we're on our own?
So what are the supplies you need? So if someone's like listening right now and they're like, okay, this is like a pretty interesting idea. Like solar panels, haven't heard of this one before. This is the first time I've had this conversation on this podcast. So this is the first time I'm hearing it as well. But like, what are some of those beginning supplies that someone would need? If they're like, I'm going to go to my friends and family and try this out, what supplies would they need to get started?
So definitely they would need a pressure washer that's 3 gallons a minute. They would need a big tank, like at least 100-gallon tank. And then they will have to set up a deionized system. We have a 3-part filtration system. So basically when you connect the garden hose to the spigot, it will go through the garden hose, go through a pre-filter, then 2 additional filters, and then it will fill up this tank that has basically spotless deionized water that you use to clean the panels. Because if you use regular water, it's high in calcium. Once it dries, it will leave spots and burn into the actual panel itself, and that's a no-no.
You're making it sound so easy, honestly.
It seems easy, but to get there, it's a lot of work. I mean, it took us, I think, almost a year until we upgraded fully into our system that we use today. We started off with a small 5x8 foot trailer, realized there's not enough space. We have 2 pressure washers for the DNI system, one for window washing, one for solar cleaning. So one can be on the ground, one can be on the roof working. And then we have a pressure washer that was, a wheel out and on the 8-foot trailer. And it was cramped. It was a cramped space. So we upgraded to a full-size 14-foot by 7-foot trailer and upgraded to a hot burner system. So we have hot water on deck with our trailer. So if we need to get those tough grime stains, oil stains out of the pavers or concrete, it's all taken care of.
Let's talk about that first year a little bit more as well. So you guys started off with friends and family. How long did it take for you guys to actually get like your first customer? And you can kind of tell us, how did you guys get your first like paying non-friends and family customer?
So in mid-September, we finally got our equipment. And in about mid-October, we actually got our first clients, and people were calling us, just exposure, because we had our trailer wrapped. So when we were driving down the road, it's a billboard and people would call. And then it's not just solar panel cleaning. We also do, windows, bird proofing, gutter cleaning, house washes, roof washes. So it was around that holiday time where people wanted to actually get things cleaned before family members come out of town, before they put all the holiday lighting up and things like that. So from October till December, we made just less than $10,000. But then after that, January, February, March was kind of slow. And then April, it kicked off again for us. And we were just, we had a job every other day. And then once we got into June, July, it seemed like we had a job every day lined up to do some kind of cleaning, either windows, pressure washing, solar panel cleaning, or bird proofing.
And what really piqued our goals was being on Fox 10 News, the local news here. And as soon as they showcased that we do bird proofing and solar cleaning, the calls just started coming in. That was in June. And so we're getting calls all the way to be booked through almost November from there. So
wow.
That was like free publicity for us. And we were at a home and garden show and our phone was nonstop ringing and we had terrible service there. And I was like, come on, just let the voicemails come in and we'll just call right after we're done from the home and garden show. And then I think we had about 20 missed calls in that first day, and then it just gradually grew the next day.
Interesting. It reminds me of like when people go on Shark Tank and like after they go on Shark Tank, your revenue goes up like 400% by some instances. But that exposure, it sounds like on Fox 10 News is like really what got this thing going. It sounds like you guys had some pretty good traction going, but that is really what like took you guys to the next level. I want to talk about that a little bit more. Were you guys doing any other marketing activities before this Fox 10 News appearance, or was this like truly like the number one thing that like drew you guys forward?
I was inclined in graphic design with high school. And so my brother's like, we should design some door hangers front and back and get all the services that we do. And we don't like the door knockers. We're opposed to door knocking. So we're just, let's hit as many houses as we can, just hang our signs, let them know we're in the area, and then just see if we get calls. I think we hung like 250 our first day, and we got maybe 2 or 3 calls out of that. So the interest peaked. And so you go into the community, you do one house and the neighbor sees it. It's the curb appeal. The neighbor's like, oh, can you do mine? And how much would it be? And now you don't have to knock. You don't have to hang. You just communicate with the customer that's next door because they come looking for you.
I really like that approach. It's honestly like social proof in a way of like, oh, well, my neighbors is doing it. Like, I should probably be doing this as well. It sounds like that was like an effective strategy for you guys.
Yeah, we definitely get a lot of calls from people. Hey, you were referred by so-and-so. And so it's just word of mouth and the credibility and trust.
I want to thank a listener, Tammy Jersey Girl, who recently said, every show has so much gold. This is for every entrepreneur or wannabe entrepreneur to get started and also get to the next level. Keep doing what you're doing. Tammy, you keep doing what you are doing. Thank you so much for this review. They mean the world to me. So thank you so much for this. So when you say you get like 2 or 3 jobs, depending on the industry, that could be, if it's a clothing brand, like 2 or 3 shirts sold is not a lot, but 2 to 3 like very high ticket items, like that's a big deal. Can you guys kind of talk about like your average ticket size when it comes to like these jobs, specifically for like solar panels?
So yeah, the average ticket size right now is about $650. And we usually do about 2 to 3 jobs in a day. Our bigger jobs we'll do on like Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, because usually people are home and they want to be home when we're doing that. We're talking about that's like a bird-proofing job or house washes, window washing. Sometimes they want the interior and exterior done at the same time. So they kind of want to be there, for that.
Yeah, I mean, $650. I know a lot of the listeners that want to start companies, like their ears are probably peaking up, especially if you're doing like 2 to 3 jobs a day. When it comes specifically, could you guys give like a percentage of like how your guys' jobs come through now? Is it like 75% referral, 10% XYZ, 10% XYZ, 5%? Can you kind of talk about that a little bit more?
Sure. About 60% of our customers are repeat customers. So we have them set up on a every 6-month basis, depending on what they're getting done. Solar panels are usually every 6 months. They get cleaned and windows. And then we get a lot of calls. They were looking on Google. So, they were looking for bird proofing, and those are kind of like bigger jobs. And the customer will find us and go on our website or our Instagram and kind of see what we do and how it's done. And then they'll give us a call. Or we'll get also a lot of referrals from previous clients that we've helped out. And our saying is, make your mess our problem. So we eliminated that problem for them and made it our mess.
What I like about that is like those are all like free marketing activities. You guys aren't like throwing like hundreds of thousands of dollars into like Google ads or anything. It sounds like it's referrals, just kind of posting like Google reviews.
We'll sometimes do like Google ads or mailers just if we're trying to pick up on a certain criteria or job, if we want to hit a certain area or something like that to pick up more clients in that area, then we'll do it. But all we have is just a website with SEO, and that's pretty much it. And then our vehicles are wrapped, our trailers are wrapped. So when we're going down the road, people can see, and we get a lot of calls that way as well.
And our Instagram's pretty big with our videos. So with our little shorts and reels, we try uploading almost every day if we can, but it's a lot of work.
Nice. 2 things here. One, I love that you guys kind of have like a flywheel going with like this 6-month basis. It sounds like you guys do such a nice job that every 6 months, like you're kind of just building that flywheel. So like you're always having like business if it's a repeat or like a new customer. Specifically, I want to ask now about how you guys like have scaled these operations up, because now you guys have trucks, you have trailers, you have new equipment. Can you talk about like employees from like 0 to like the first year and maybe like beyond that now? Like how is your guys' operation scaled up, and like what can people know about like scaling a company like this? Like what should they know?
Great question. We don't have any employees. It's just us 2.
There you go.
When we do have bigger commercial projects, we'll hire help just so we can get this done sooner for the client because there's a deadline. Otherwise, it's just us 2 because we've tried. It's just you can't count on them and hope that they'll do the same job with same quality as we do. Our Google reviews are all 5-star reviews. We have like over 50 reviews, and this is kind of like we want to keep that as 5 stars as long as we can and not ruin that, I guess.
We want to have a lot of good quality relationship with our customers, and they're always impressed that, oh, you 2 are the owners and actually working. A lot of them are thinking we're just going to send a crew out and then do the job for us. And, we just do the calls and do the appointments, but we do it all. Like we're a one-stop shop for the customer at least.
Yeah, I want to ask, like, is that a lot on you guys to just be like a 2-man shop, especially doing like $18K a month? You guys have 2 or 3 jobs a day now. Like, is that a lot for you guys? I'm just like curious. It sounds like a lot, honestly.
Sometimes it is, but you just find a way how to get it done. We use a lot of CRMs and basically booking apps and things like that to keep us going in like a well-oiled machine, so we don't miss any appointments. We make sure we're in touch with our clients. Our CRM also lets them know 2 days before and 1 hour before we get there. So it kind of does a lot of that work for us. So we don't have to keep calling, reminding and things like that because we're just, going from a job to a job,
I like that you guys like apply tech in this because I feel like a lot of times when we have companies that are like similar to yours on, like we've had other like cleaning services, like house cleaning service and stuff, nothing specifically like this. A lot of times they say like beat the competition, you need to apply like automation, like actual have like tech within your workflows. And it sounds like you guys have that with like your CRM and like other automations in place, similar to like those reminders essentially.
I mean, our CRM rebooks them right when we're done with the job. It books them for the next 6 months. We don't have to worry about it. Drastically, that's been helping us a lot to get the repeat clients because we just tell the customer, hey, we'll book you for 6 months. It's automated. If you want to reschedule, cancel, that's fine. We won't be upset. You have an option that we're there, that we're coming back in 6 months, and you can just let us know to reschedule if needed. So,
and most love that it automatically reschedules them for 6 months and sends them that reminder because people are so busy that they forget. And, 48 hours before we show up, it's going to remind them. And then if they have to do any changes with their plans, they have enough time and then lets them also an hour before know, hey, they're about 3 here, they're on their way.
Interesting. Yeah, it sounds like you guys make like a very frictionless process to like get those repeat customers by like automatically scheduling them.
Yeah, and we get a lot of customers that will just, be the first time cleaning their windows and they love the whole technology thing and makes it so easy for them that they're like, okay, you know what, just schedule me, for dryer vent cleaning or this cleaning or that, So we kind of made this business as a one-stop shop for anything that they need exterior cleaning wise. The only interior cleaning we do is windows. Everything else is exterior.
That's great stuff. I want to ask one more question, just a little bit more about like the technical details. I have some interesting questions to ask you guys, just so I'm curious on like the dynamic. But before we do that, can you explain like the CRM that you guys are using? Because I think it is very interesting that you are applying like very 21st century like tech into this company like this. And I think it's super important. So could you kind of tell us about like a tech stack that you guys have?
Yeah, so we use Square. As easy as it sounds, it's just Square. I mean, there's multiple options out there for booking and stuff. Like there's Jobber and there's plenty of other markets for that. But we just decided to use Square because we're used to it. Other services like you go to the haircut salon and get your hair done and they're using Square. And you're like, how can you use that towards the cleaning services? And when we did the research, they actually did have things in place and you just have to mess with it and make your own. And I really like that option. It's a quick 30-minute feel on how their system works and you can get it down really well. I really love the fact that you can just use your iPhone to, use the NFC to charge the credit cards or debit cards from the customer right away, send invoices if it's a corporate account. It looks professional and they like it too because it's email, text, or a phone call straight through the app.
Yeah, when we did our research, it was like a lot of companies use different things, but they also used a bunch of different applications for electronically sending the bills, things like that. We can get it all done on our phone through that same app with Square and not worry about it.
I think this has been great, just like technical advice on like how to get started, what your guys' operations looks like, especially that tech stack. I want to take a step back and kind of make a hard pivot on the conversation and talk about the dynamics of like working with your brother. What's the dynamic of working with your brother and like actually building a company? It's one thing to do with like your partner or like someone else.
Well, Sanat and I are 9 years apart. He's older than me. So growing up, we were always bickering. We didn't have any common interest. Like if I played video games, he would be already, 9 years ahead. He's out of video games. He's studying for school or doing something else. But the older we got, the common interest we had was, off-roading and camping and stuff. So that got us connected and rebonded together. And we decided, a business track together would be a great relationship, bonding experience. And him and I, we work really well together. It's easy. You can get frustrated with family and stuff, but there's nothing that we can do to each other that we won't come back to go to work the next day or something. Like if an argument breaks out, not that we have any, but if we did, it wouldn't be like detrimental to the business because we can keep our cool, especially him. I don't know how he does it. So
I'm more of a hands-on person, so I can build things, fix things, make things. He's more like the technology, computer stuff. I can do it. It doesn't interest me as much. I can get to a job site and a customer or client can explain to me what's going on. And in my head, I already have the wheels churning. How am I going to approach this problem and fix it? Where with him is like, he might not see that picture, but he can do the marketing and the computer stuff. So as long as I show him, have him picture a blueprint, then he'll see, and then we'll just knock it out and go from there.
Interesting. Yeah, it sounds like it's a good like yin and yang of like, so not like you're a little bit more like hands-on with everything, and then Denny, you're like a little bit more like computer, where it's like, I think that's like a good balance to have, especially when like you are building a company.
And the crazy part is like when we started this, we were just, doing this as a side hustle, just extra money. And then it just slowly blew up. And it's like, it's an actual like company that makes a profit, and comparing it from year to year, our growth just keeps increasing crazy amounts. Yeah.
And before we get to our fan blitz questions, you talk about that growth a little bit more. Like, what's one thing someone should know if they're wanting to start like a similar business to this? I want to give you guys like that final stage before our last 5 questions here.
So when you start something like this, don't think, you're going to be rich overnight and it's going to explode overnight. It's going to be slow in the beginning for at least the first year till you start building up clientele, people actually noticing you. People are going to do their research to see, okay, who is this company? What are they all about? Probably once a week, somebody is going to tell us, hey, I saw you guys online, but I read all the reviews and things like that. And based off of the reviews, I decided to call you. So even when we're 3 years plus into this business, people are still doing their research and making sure they're picking the right company. So it's very important for you, whatever you do in the beginning, you got to make sure that you do it right, and you'll spend a lot more time there, but building that reputation is key.
Awesome. Reputation is everything, and getting those Google reviews is huge. I know that's for my own business as well. That's the social proof of like being able to say like, oh, we have like 30 customer testimonials or reviews is something that does not go unnoticed with people. But let's go to our fan blitz questions. And these are our last 5 questions of the shows. And these are actually submitted from our community. And guys, if you want to join in on world-class entrepreneurs on how you can start your own business, the questions that you have, you can submit these at www.youtube/upflip to submit all your questions there. But you guys ready to close us out with our last 5 questions?
Yeah.
Awesome. Number 1, what is your offer for cleaning solar panels? Example, how did you position and pitch it to homeowners and businesses, and what do you charge for the service?
So the way we charge for solar panel cleaning, we're based out in Peoria, so you have a certain radius of how far you're willing to travel. But our standard rates are if they're a 1-story or a 2-story home. We're not charging the residents per panel, because it's not fair to them, because that should be just a commercial price for like a commercial building or a solar farm. So you start off at a budget, certain amount. So you can do $249 for a 1-story home and then $299 for a 2-story home. Once you do that, that's where you have a base price of what you're going to charge for those solar panel cleaning. And customers really like that, because a guy's going to go to somebody's house and be like, oh, you have 30 panels. It's $5 a panel. It's $150. Yes, it's less, but the neighbor next door has, several more panels, 40 panels to 50 panels. And now you're charging them $200. It's not really fair. And it's the time it takes to clean one house to the next house should be about the same. And we just make it fair to the customer, charge them a flat rate. Versus, some even now charging $12 to $15 a panel, which is really crazy high for a resident.
Why did you guys opt to start up a physical service-based business? Was the business born out of necessity or a passion?
It was passion, but also looking into the younger generation these days is not, I guess I would say, savvy or is not educated. A home requires maintenance, just like anything else. And if you don't take care of it, things will break. You're going to have major repairs that you'll have to dish out for. So a company like ours, that's a one-stop shop for everything, helps the community and the residents and the population as well.
What's the best part of being an entrepreneur?
The best part, I guess, being your own boss, having your own time, finding time to be with your family a lot. That's the best part is, having free time to yourself and making the business around your time so it doesn't have any conflict with family, friends, or any of that. It's not the easiest thing in the beginning, but it gets easier the longer you do it.
For me, it's just rewarding making your own success and fulfilling your own dreams.
Yeah, I say this a lot on the podcast, but the 3 W's of why I started a business is I had to decide where I work, when I work, and with who I work. And that's definitely the best part of being an entrepreneur. You get to decide all 3 of those things. Number 4, what was the deciding moment in your previous job which made you say, yep, never doing this again?
So I did pharmaceuticals, retail pharmaceuticals, and dealing with stuff that you have no control over. Just decided you can do so much and you can do the right or wrong thing. And next day, your general manager is going to be like, you did the wrong thing when you thought it was the right thing, and you have no control over that. So it's having your own business, you can control the goods and the bads pretty easily.
In my career, basically where I was and what I was doing, my next step was being a manager. And that means, getting a salary. And as the saying goes, corporations give you a salary to forget about your dreams. And I don't want to forget about mine. So I decided to do my own thing.
I love that. That is great. I 1,000% agree with that. Number 5, if you were to start another business tomorrow, what would you do first?
Well, first thing is always for me, I do a lot of research before I do anything, looking at what the need is, what the requirements are, and is there any licensing experience needed. But there's so much out there. If you put a bunch of effort into it and some of your time, you can accomplish anything. Is it the right time and the right place for you, I guess.
Learning is the biggest curve that you can have to get a step forward in any business that you do.
And relationships are everything. I mean, in business, just got to make sure you're building those relationships with everyone, is small or big. It doesn't matter. Always make sure you are leading everything on a positive note.
I love it. Well, I think we are ending this on a positive note. Those are our last 5 questions of the Fan Blitz questions. So I want to thank you guys both so much for being here. And if someone's like, oh my God, this business sounds incredible, I want to learn more about them, where can people go to contact you guys?
thesupercleanbros.com or 602-582-8202. Give us a call, text. We'll answer right back.
Or our Instagram is pretty big. You'll see a lot of videos. You can learn from those and go from there.
Nice. And what is that Instagram handle?
At the Super Clean Bros.
Guys, this was an amazing episode with Sinan and Denny. 3 quick takeaways for you. As we always say, to get your first customer, look to friends and family. They're going to be your best source to actually see if you have a good business idea and if you can execute. Number 2, social proof with neighbors. They were talking about going door to door, leaving stuff. And then eventually they started getting neighbors calling and saying, hey, I saw you did this. I saw your referral. So social proof is huge for this business. And then number 3, if you are wanting to start a company like this, put automation and tech in place. It's going to be a super easy way for you to retain customers. They gave the example that once they're done, every 6 months, it's just going to automatically schedule you again. Love that little tidbit. If you're still listening and haven't left us a review yet, pause the show and do it now. Your reviews mean so much to me, and they help to get the show in front of more people who, just like you, want to leave their 9 to 5 and start their own business. I appreciate you all. Sinan and Denny, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.